Alright, something happened. We're here, I think. I'm having all sorts of issues. I'm not happy in the slightest. Title's wrong, I know, I'm fixing it. Fuck that bit. Just got to make sure that you guys can probably see all this stuff at the moment, and I don't care. Got to make sure that the channel points are set right, so we've got the D&D stuff up, which we have. Cool. So, sorry, ladies and gents. As I said, I've been having all sorts of weird and wonderful things happening today. None of my players can connect to Foundry right now. I don't know why. My ports are all gone fucking haywire on one PC, which makes no sense. But we're here. You guys can see and hear in the chat. You can see and hear what's going on in Foundry because I've been able to connect locally to it. But unfortunately, the players won't get that extra experience of any audio, which is not a huge deal, but that was kind of the whole reason behind Foundry. So with them not being able to use it, kind of pisses me off. But anywho, we shall surge forward and do what we need to do. So where is my DM info? Here it is. Recaps. So we're going to jump right in it. We're already about a quarter of an hour late. Welcome, players. Hopefully it won't be too bad of an evening with any luck. Hopefully nothing else breaks down. If it does, I'm going to rage and I'm probably going to throw something. So just be prepared. But anywho, last we left off, you had shown Sgt Stormhammer some of your martial skills in the fighting pit. And then once again, he marched you around the parade ground for several hours before ordering Tolver to take his squad, march his squad to dinner. However, one of your squad mates decided that he was going to ignore this order and suffered the consequences. It kind of one of those things. Mr. Doof Smarty Pants ended up getting a lot of press ups for his troubles. He managed to get through it okay, but the arms were a bit jelly-like for several hours afterwards. He then orders Doof to let his party members, his group members, know that they have just scored night duty because of his indiscretion. So it means they will not get any sleep or much sleep this evening. At dinner, Uth got some minor ribbing from his crew, but also proceeded in not pissing off, but putting himself on the radar of another officer who he manages not to recognize. And I mean, not directly, but definitely he's got himself on a couple of people's shit list. Following that, heading back to the barracks to ready yourselves for the night duties, the sergeant calls out Various to answer the question that he had won by striking the sergeant in the fighting pit. The question was interesting and took the sergeant by surprise, but he managed to answer it to Various' satisfaction, it seems. Then asking Various to let the rest know to join him outside, he then marched you all to the one of the northern towers of the Dragonskull Keep. Once at the top, he gave you your orders, informing you that of your patrol area and the consequences of falling asleep. Tolver ordered his squad into two separate groups. Marath and Uth in the first, and Dilly and Various in the second. Tolver follows Marath and Uth on their first patrol and stations himself in the secondary tower. As the night progresses, you guys march backwards and forwards, making your checks, Nothing really to report. Dilly did spy a pack of wolves. Nothing really too dangerous in that. Marath and Uth, minor discussions backwards and forwards about improving dexterity and strength, and Dilly using her lightning abilities to help keep her and Varys awake at one point, which mildly successful. By the end of it, the wee small hours of the morning, you were relieved and you headed back to your barracks. Next day, as the sun rises early, once again you're woken by the sound of the sergeant's voice. Exhausted, with only a few hours rest, Uth seems to be reluctant to rise this morning, but is aided by some of his crew and the aid of another lightning spell, courtesy of Dilly, which manages to rouse him rather quickly. Tolbear follows up the crew, making sure everyone is out on the parade ground in relatively expedient fashion. You then are marched over the training area, where there's an archery range and an arcane range and some training dummies. This is where you spent probably a couple of hours showing off your skills with your own weapons. Some did better than others. During this time, young Dilly, after attempting a firebolt, vanishes for a short time and then returns relatively unharmed. She seemed a little almost disappointed to be returned, but she was returned unharmed. You spend some more time then working on specific skills, which most of you were able to increase one of your skills. I think it was all except for Uth managed to increase a stat. During the course of that, you were then once again marched around the parade ground. It's one of those things. It was generally how it works. At this time round, though, I believe it was Varys that tripped. As the sergeant stepped forward to discipline him, the rest of the squad stopped and aided in picking him up, as Maras sort of picked the whole group up and helped scoop them all back to their feet and continue their marching. Sgt Stormhammer, seeming somewhat impressed by this, never really disciplined you in this particular moment and let you continue onward. As the sun sets on another day, Stormhammer orders you to chow once again, which you all march to with relative dexterity and formation. You eat and head back to the barracks. Dilly tends to her blisters, and Marath offers, at some point through this, offers a home remedy to help with the blisters, which Dilly eventually heads to the apothecary to get checked over after her little incident and retrieves what she needs, and is given pretty much a clean bill of health. Marath then places a large stone on the sleeping Uth to aid him in his I believe it's your strength you were trying to build, Uth. So what I'm going to do is, because you were the only one that was to miss out on a stat increase, and you aided Marath in his ability to gain a stat increase in his dexterity with your knowledge of the bow, I'm going to allow you to increase your strength by 1, as over the course of the evening, this large stone that has been placed on your chest and stomach area just may have helped you increase some of that strength. You're going to be pretty sore in the morning, I would imagine, but we'll give you that stat increase, so you can increase your strength by 1. Again, if you're not sure how to do it, let me know and I can do it for you. But essentially, this is where we rejoin you guys now, as you rise in the morning again to the sound of the gruff voice of Sgt Stormhammer, who calls you to the parade ground. And as usual, you're all sort of snapped awake. So it is up to you what happens in this particular moment.
Would we have recovered from the exhaustion?
You would have.
Yep.
Received a long rest. So you can mark down long rest, which should get rid of your exhaustion. Earth, as you wake up, you go to sit up and realise you've got a large stone sitting on your chest and stomach area.
Oh, what happened? Someone help, please.
It's not that heavy.
Please.
You're right down there, Mr. Uth, and Various is gonna like stick his head down. You've got a strange choice of sleeping companion there, Mr. Uth.
Ow. Hurt. Pain. Hang on. I think I got this. Rolls to the side. Let it drop to the floor.
Dilly will be waiting by the door, waiting for everyone to go out in formation.
Okay.
Tolvir would stand and say, all right, come on people, let's go. Time to get up. Claps his hands, let's go.
So does everyone move, dress, and move to the door with Dilly?
Yep.
Even Uth?
Yep.
Well, so as
Tolvir would be the last one out.
No worries. So as you move yourselves into formation before leaving the barracks, do you march out or do you casually walk out? What is your order, Tolvir?
Well, I'd be last, so...
Yeah, but you still got to order them to do... You're the squad leader, so it's your order. Well, your order is how they leave the barracks.
We should probably march because we got told off for that before. So, march, ladies and gentlemen.
Dilly will march.
So with that, do you all proceed to march out in formation and line up as generally instructed by Sgt Stormhammer?
Yes.
Begrudgingly following the order, I march.
So as you get yourselves into formation, you can... I'll get you to all roll insight to see if you can determine whether Stormhammer is impressed or not by your seemingly more of an initiative to march out in formation rather than just sort of meander out as you have done the previous 2 days.
6. Dilly got no clue.
13.
13, so we got 10, 6 or 7, 12, 13. Not too bad. So he's very hard to read. I mean, he is a military man, and he's probably standing there pretty much at attention. Hasn't got his warhammer today, but he's got that baton tucked into his belt. Standing there at attention, just watching you guys as you come out. So even with a 13, I think you would probably find it very difficult to read whether he's impressed or not. But he waits for you all to line up and says, right, what shall we do with you today? More marching, maybe? Back on training days? Nay, we'll find something more interesting, I think, for you lot today.
Permission to
first,
speak, Sergeant.
Shut your face. But what I do have, and he sort of turns to his right, and what you see is 2 soldiers flanking another man who's sort of slumped forward, head bowed down, and almost like he's being dragged across the parade ground. And as they get closer, it gets closer and closer. And one of the soldiers turns around and says, Sergeant, what we doing with this fella? Where do you want him? He's been babbling on all night. It's fucking annoying, I tell you. Well, just dump him there. I'll deal with him in a minute. And they sort of dump this dude on the ground. He seems to be semi-conscious, maybe. What you see is he's in uniform, although rather scruffy looking. Looks like the uniform may have been forced on him. He's in shackles. He's got sort of platinum blonde hair. He's quite short, very pale. And the sergeant sort of turns and walks over to him and gives him a boot in the ribs. Stand up, you!
Yeah.
Welcome to Her Majesty's militia. I understand that you had a choice. You made the right one. It's either death or militia. It's what happens when you try to assassinate the Queen, you know. You're lucky he didn't just kill you on the spot.
I wasn't trying to
Shut your
assassinate.
face. I wasn't asking you a fucking question.
Yes, sir.
Right, if we take them shackles off, if you try to run, see them archers up there? You'll have 5 arrows on your back before you get 10 feet. Do you understand?
I understand, sir.
Right. So he walks over and grabs a key out of his, like a little pouch on his belt, undoes the shackles, and gives you a bit of a shove towards the line. Now line up with this lot. You're going to be their new squad mate. All right. This here individual. Actually, I don't really care what your fucking name is, to be fair, but Private Blondie, we'll call you that.
Okay.
In line.
Yes, sir.
And he wipes blood from his lip.
Right, so you can describe in more detail what they see, if you wish.
They see a younger man in his 20s, possibly. Like you said, the long platinum hair, more blonde than platinum. Strong face, striking resemblance, handsome man. But yeah, only about 5'6" at best. But he looks like he's been beaten a lot.
Definitely sporting a lot of bruising around the face area.
Even though he is wearing the military fatigues, he does not look like he belongs here in the military.
Not in the slightest.
Breathing heavily too.
All right then, so Adelaide, we're going to march for an hour before we do anything. Just to fuck with you. Right, have you ever, I dare say you've never marched before, and as he turns to you. Private Blondie.
I mean, I can walk. Marching is kind of just walking, right?
Bit more to it than that, but we'll see. Right, you to the back of the line, so he moves you back to, well, he pretty much leaves you where you are, because Tolvir, you'll be at the front, you'll lead. And he then says, all right, Corporal Tolvir, you're going to lead your squad on an hour-long march. I'm not going to march with you today. I'm going to observe you. And be sure that General Brogdor is probably watching as well. See what you've learnt in a few days. If you get it right, and you don't fuck it up, you'll be allowed out of the keep walls on a special patrol today. I'm feeling a little generous. So, over to you, Corporal. Take your squad out.
All right, ladies and gents, we shall march. So, this way, 90 degrees, that way, 90 degrees, that way.
Yes,
Follow me.
Corporal.
And
Yeah, whatever you say.
and Tolvir, you lead your group, your squad, leading by example. So you start out, you lead, they start to follow. I will get a dexterity check from everybody, please. So Private Blondie, I don't know if you have created a stat block for your character. I mean, I know you have a stat block for this particular character.
I have a.
Do you have a lowered version of it?
I have a way. Yes.
Okay, so just roll. Because I mean, you're not in the campaign, so you can roll. Just let me know what you get. Oh, he's not really. Oh, he's some. Oh, Tolvier with a low one. Did you roll yours at advantage, Tolvier?
No, I did not.
You get yours at advantage.
Oh, sweet. That's good.
Because of your previous experience.
My first roll
lucky.
of the night is a natural 1.
That's perfect. So with
I'm
various,
not much better. I got a 4, so 3.
with the various getting a natural 1 also.
I got a 13.
So as you march and the sergeant is watching, Tolvi, you're at the front. You stumble a bit at first, and you pick up and you get yourself on pace. Think, shit, no, concentrate. I've got to do this. Private Blondie at the back trips and falls flat on his face. Maybe it's the bruising, maybe it's the beating he received. Picks himself up and sort of gets back into line as quickly as he can. Various, you trip over your own feet. Your hooves are sore from the previous day still, and I would say you're roughly in the middle again, give or take. Probably Marath, you're probably behind Varys at this point. But yours isn't much better. You don't fall, but you seem to be struggling at this point as well. Some of you seem a little out of coordination, and from across the parade ground, you hear Sgt Stormhammer just hurl a beratement of insults your way. Even from 40, 50 feet away that he is, you can hear him. He's got a loud voice. I'm not going to yell because Duddy tells me off every time I yell. But you definitely hear him from across the parade ground.
Duddy, let him yell.
He swears, he pretty much just calls you no good, no hoping. If you want to get that assignment outside of the walls, you best sort it out and pick it up. So he watches you for the next hour. You seem to improve as time goes by. You've been doing this for 2 or 3 days now, for a long time. Can I get another dex check from the 3 that failed, please? So Various, Marath, and the Private Blondie. Better Marath. Various much better.
10.
10. I mean, 9's borderline, but you manage. You're whatever you're doing is serviceable. It's not flash. It's definitely not the best. Your timing is definitely not shit hot, but you're okay.
I apologize. I go under my breath, sort of not too loud so anyone else can hear, to say, sorry, everybody, I'm not used to this and I've been beat up a lot.
So you're at the back, so you'd be behind Maras. So Maras probably would have been the only one that really heard you. Unless you wanted to be a little louder to be able to hold squad
no,
to hear.
Just that breath, so yeah, Marath.
Okay, so Marath, you would probably the only one to hear this.
Just keep on marching.
So for that hour, you march around the parade ground probably 2 or 3, 4 times. It's a large parade ground, probably 5 or 6 times by the time Sergeant sort of steps out and halts you. All right. Go get your weapons and meet me at the northern gate in 15 minutes. You. What is your skill set, Sonny?
I am excellent with any weapon, but I prefer the axe.
Great axe or just a hand axe?
Either, but a great axe would do way more damage.
Right. So, with that, he directs you to the armory. He says, go to that door there and ask the armourer for a great axe and meet me with the rest of your squad at the northern gate. Move it!
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gents, march back to the barracks. and you can march over there. Blindly.
No worries. So, as you head back to the barracks, you grab your weapons. You've not been instructed to grab anything else, provisions or anything like that. But you eventually you get back to the northern gate where you fall back into formation. I would say that Private Blondie's the last to get back. Again, even though he's probably doesn't want to get beaten again, he's still pretty roughed up. Probably takes him a little bit to get back, but he does make it there. He goes, all right, I'm going to lead you guys out on a special patrol. We're going to be going to the north of the keep, and so your whole mission here, if you will, is to keep your eyes open. You do not engage in anything unless I tell you to. This is a field exercise on basic survival. See what skills you got in keeping yourselves alive out in the wilderness. So what you're looking for is animals, food, good place to camp, all those sorts of things. If you have any skills out in the wild, speak up now. Any of you been camping at least before?
Yes, Sergeant, I used to live in the forest. Not
Yes,
the
Sergeant.
forest. The forest.
Right.
I've travelled the lands, Sergeant.
Anybody else?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant, I have too. I have extensive. I know all about building tents, making camp. Wildlife is one of my main skills as well. I'm very good at dealing with wildlife. Actually,
Are you good at keeping your mouth shut?
That one, not so much. Not unless you have a whiskey or a beer. A beer would be good. A mead, kind
Shut
sir.
your pie hole.
Pie, yes.
And he walks up to you and gives you a crack right in the ribs with his baton.
Oh, son of a. Okay.
What was that?
Sorry,
did
sir.
you have something to say?
I meant to say, sorry, sir. I know nothing.
All right. That's what I thought you said. And with that, he then signals the gate guard to open the gates. It takes a little while for the gates. The gates are quite large and they swing open slowly. And you guys head out of the keep. You recognize this is where you came in initially. So you head out on, it's like a dirt road. You follow the dirt road, following the sergeant out for maybe 30 minutes or so before he makes a detour off the road and starts heading into, at first it's like low-lying bushes and tall grass, heading northward towards, you would know Tolvere, towards Gatton, like north in that general area. You've got the mountains and you've got Gatton Lake and Redfield and all that heading north, and then further north you've got the mountains. Anyone that's sort of been in and around Beyond in this particular area of Paradigm would roughly know that's generally where you're headed. You're heading towards that mountain range. It's a fair way off, but there's large forested areas and grasslands in between. So once you get into the forest, maybe 20 minutes in, give or take, he then turns to you all and says, while still walking, let's get some audio going here for the stream. Yeah, we've got a bit of a forest here. So, following a small path through the thicket of the trees, he then turns to you all and calls out, "Halt! Right, let's see what you can see in the thick of this forest here. I want you all to fan out 10 yards in between you all and have a scout around to see what you can find to survive out here. We're looking for burnable wood, We're looking for animals, animal tracks, anything that might be useful in a situation where you need to camp, hide yourself, anything like that. So you get you to fan out, and I will need everybody to roll a survival check. So what we're initially looking for is maybe you're looking for possibly mushrooms or edible berries, a suitable campsite within sort of 25-30 feet of the road, this track, things like that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Considering the fact that I've lived in a forest, not this forest, but a forest, would I be able to have advantage on it? It's a straight roll regardless whether I roll it or not. So
I would say no, because this is not, even though you're naturally akin to this kind of surrounding, this is
a different one.
Completely different area than you're used to. Like, even the trees are different, like different types of trees, different types of fauna and flora.
Sorry, I never asked. I should have.
Yeah. No, I'd say this is, even though it's a forest and it feels kind of natural to you, it's unnatural and foreign at the same time.
Yeah.
So we have Tolvia with an 11. We have Marath with a natural 20. Interesting.
The Vondi also has natural 20.
Natural 20. Interesting. Various with a 8 and Uth with a 4.
And Dilly with an 11.
An 11. So we'll resolve our natural 20s first.
Plus 2 for proficiency.
That should already be in your roll.
Okay.
Your proficiency should already be added to your rolls on D&D Beyond.
No, apparently not.
Should be. That's how D&D Beyond runs it. So what's your modifier for survival? Plus 2?
Plus 1.
And what's your proficiency?
Plus 2.
So it'd be we'll add a 1. Are you sure you're proficient?
Yeah.
Has it got a dot in it?
Got a little. Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have a look at that after
I know.
stream. Either way, it'll be a maximum of a 5. So, a natural 20s first. You guys managed to find not only a decent source of dry materials to burn, you find you probably both swing around and come around from different angles, but find the same spot. It's a slight clearing, perfect for campsite. There's a few stones around that can be used to build a fire. The ground's flat. There's a good tree cover on one side as a windbreak. And as you sort of move around, you can hear what sounds like it might be a small creek relatively close by either. Good source of water. Those that are 10 or above, you manage to find a couple of patches of mushrooms. Again, some dry sort of tindist type material for starting a fire. And you don't find the campsite, but you do manage to find an area which looks like it has good cover and might actually potentially work for an ambush in this particular area if that's what you were so inclined to be doing. Various and Uth. Uth, maybe you're preoccupied from previously or just don't care, but you don't really find anything much at all. You look like you're looking around and doing stuff. You're sort of following the others around, hoping they will lead you to something. Various, I'd say you're probably just fascinated with this area. I mean, you've only been here for a short time, and you haven't really had a chance to explore. So this is probably the first time you've actually gone into a wooded area in any great sort of detail since you've been here. So the sound of the different birds compared to where you're from, the different insects that you can hear, I'd say you're definitely preoccupied with that rather than looking for what you've been instructed to look for. And after a while, you'll see that the sergeant moves in and around the trees as well, and he sort of follows you around a little bit, and he catches Marath and Blondie at the campsite, and he says, "Oh, what a good find, a good spot. Sounds like he's walked in nearby as well. Well done. Let's see what others have found." And you move with him now as he catches up with the others. I'm going to make a quick roll here. Uth, as you're sort of milling around, not doing a whole lot, you hear a cracking of a branch behind you, and you turn, and there's no one there. You think, well, that's strange. But as you go to turn back to whatever you were doing, maybe you found a bit of fungus on a tree or scratching your name in the side of a tree or something, which I'd say Uth would probably do. You turn and look down, and you see Sergeant Stormhammer just standing there with his arms crossed, and Marath and the new recruit standing not far behind him. And what did you find besides a tree to carve your fucking name in?
Well, that too, a few twigs here and there. That's all I could find.
You're fucking useless, I tell you. You know that if you don't find a good campsite, or at least something to build a fire, you're gonna fucking die out here. I dare say this lot's not gonna be around to keep you alive all the time. That'd be a full-time job. Why did you even join this fucking army? Enlighten me.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Really? It seemed like a good idea. What are you running from? You strike me as the type to get yourself in a lot of trouble. Who'd you piss off?
Me running? I don't run from people.
Right. We'll see about that. Get back on the road.
Yes, Sergeant.
Dolly Wimpers, where the fuck are you? Oh, you're over there. Almost lost you in the trees. Bloody hell. Back to the road, you lot. And he orders you all back to the road.
Yes, Sergeant, and she'll go back to the road.
To Marareth, Blondie says, just under hush, if he's far back from the sergeant, just says, "Well, that guy's a fucking bowl of beans, isn't he?"
What, the sergeant?
Yeah, he seems, you know.
That's what the smell is.
You guys asked to be here.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
I'm a
Means to an
fucking...
end.
I'm a prisoner, and you want to do this. I think I've just met the dumbest people of all the realms I've ever been to.
Well, I'm used to fighting for my life, so I thought I'd fight for someone else's instead.
He sort of looks up to see how far ahead's Sergeant.
He's up the front with Tolvir, so you're probably maybe 10 feet, maybe 12 feet. Like he's keeping you guys in relatively close formation. So you're pretty sure that he can't hear you.
Listen, I need to get out of here. Can you, cause a ruckus for me? I didn't try to kill your queen, if that's what you're wondering.
Why do you want to get out of here?
I'm supposed to be collecting... I'm on a mission. I'm not even from this realm. I've been sent here by someone else to collect things. Just so happens that my portal opened up in the Queen's chambers, I believe they said.
Right. I don't understand magic. It's not my thing.
Sure, girl.
Yili's ears have picked up quite a lot right now.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Like with the formation that you guys would have been kept, the sergeant would always keep Dilly being the smallest and a caster relatively to the center of the group. So you would probably be overhearing some of this, definitely.
the minute I heard realms, I'm like, ever been to the Sword Coast?
Oh, that's exactly where I come from. How did you know?
Uh-huh. How did you get here?
I'm doing a job for a great wizard called Garrot. I shouldn't really give all this information to you guys. For all I know, you could be the evil enemies of the Nine Hells that he
Shut
speaks
your
of.
trap, you lot.
Yes, Sir Sergeant, Sir.
And he continues to walk you guys through this forest. After another hour or so, he breaks again off this beaten track and heads into the forest itself, heading more directly north. And eventually you come to a small clearing, which, funnily enough, looks very familiar to most of you. It has training dummies set out. You get the impression that this is maybe somewhere they come to maybe do live fire exercises, or just more a more natural place to train. When you get there, you find there is another group of soldiers there as well. These soldiers look a little different in their uniform to you, and they're wearing robes, not full uniform. So you get the impression they may be possibly casters of some description. And he marches you out to an area off to one side and halts you again. And he looks at you all and says, right, kind of a deception on my part, but not really. You're going to get some actual combat today with real things that can potentially kill you, so be on your toes. Why am I checking my DMs, buddy? And what DMs are you talking about? Because there's nothing in Gilded. But anywho, at which he looks at you, Blondie, and says, right, said you're good with an axe.
Yes,
so
sir.
You're with Marath, Tolvier, and Earth. You will be your squad's front line. Varius and Dilly, you will bring up the rear a little bit, focus on range, and try and, I mean, if you have a ranged attack, use it before your target gets to you, but otherwise it is up to you lot with the big weapons to keep these particular creatures away from your casters and your ranged. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
So,
Yes, Sergeant.
with that, what are we going to do here? You watch as Sergeant gives a nod to the casters out in the front there. I don't have Twitch open, buddy. So, what he's going to do, he's going to grab some stuff here. Do 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 do. Second here, right. Right, so I need everyone to roll initiative for me as the casters start to sort of do their thing. I'm blurry? Oh, okay. That's my camera. Well, you don't need to whisper this stuff. You can put it into open chat, you know. I can fix that. So I need everyone to roll initiative. You're going to have to let me know what the initiative is because Foundry's obviously not connecting to anything. Or does it? Hang on. Oh no. Looks like you guys might have rolled. What was yours, Dilly?
2. I was so close from 20. It wasn't funny, but 2.
And 10 for Blondie.
10 for Blondie. I haven't actually got you in here, but I can put you in.
No problemo.
The combatant 2. The others look like the D&D Beyond is actually still connecting, so that's cool. So we're going to add... We're going to add a combatant. Let's add... For argument's sake, because no one can see it. And what was yours, Mr. Blondie?
10. Right in the middle.
10. Awesome. Oops. Alrighty, so we're going to roll for the creatures. As these casters roll, like you see their making hand gestures, and as they do, out of seemingly nowhere, get some battle music up. Didn't sound right with that battle music. Out of seemingly nowhere, 2 large wolf-like creatures appear, along with another 2 smaller ones. One surges out in front, and the other sort of flank almost in an arrowhead position, and start charging towards you guys. With the initiative, one of the larger wolves gets the initiative, but essentially they just charge forward. Culprit with the raid, thank you all for coming on in, appreciate it. They just charge forward and charge forward. So we're going to go, we're going to give you guys pretty much the first initiative as they're closing ground. They're about 70 or 80 feet from you as they start surging forward, and they're not coming slowly. So Uth, you get first on the initiative with Tolver second. So you see these creatures. Uth has probably dealt with wolves before, but I don't know that he would ever have seen, definitely heard of, but probably not have seen a dire wolf. But these 2 that are out the front are twice the size of the 2 smaller ones, and you can hear that heavy thudding of them charging at the group. What are you going to do? You're about, I'd say, with them closing the gap, you're about 50 to 60 feet at the moment away from them.
Changing weapon was a free action, yes?
Pretty much.
Alright, cool. So in that case, I'll use my light crossbow to start off with and do a ranged attack on
You've
one of
got
the smaller ones.
You want to attack one of the smaller ones first. They
Yeah.
would be a little further away, so probably more 70-75 feet, but I think your range on your light crossbow going to be enough?
Yeah, it's 80.
Okay, so you're more than us. You're going to go for one of the smaller ones first. So make your attack, sir.
10.
10, that will miss. You load your crossbow, you line it up, and you think, yep, and as you shoot, release the crossbow, the wolf sort of sidesteps and moves back into position. Arrow goes wide.
And that's it for me.
That's it for you. Are you going to move in? We're going to hold your ground.
Hold my ground.
Okay. So it's a couple of the wolves' turns. So they now close the gap. Moving forward, once again, they haven't closed it fully. They're about 30 feet away now from whoever's in the front. So the 4 melee were put in front. So you four in the front line at the state, Tolvir with Marath on board, and then Blondie after that. So Tolvir, you have these creatures barreling down on you. You've seen these creatures before. Direwolves are very prominent in your area of paradigm.
Alrighty. So you say it's a free action to.
It is a free action to switch a weapon. Yes, it is.
You're
You're within movement range of these guys. They've closed the gap down to about 30 feet. So you are within your movement to get to them if you wish.
30 feet, still not close enough. I'm going to draw out a javelin and throw it.
No worries. Roll to hit.
Okay, equip you guys. Oh, javelin, roll to hit. 7, that's a miss.
That's a miss also. You line it up and you throw the javelin and just throw it wide. You're not, maybe you haven't dealt with a moving target for a while, but it seems to fly wide and jam into the ground just beside where the wolves are as they close the distance. Is that your turn?
Yeah, I'm going to move 5 foot forward.
Yep.
Couple of feet forward, and draw out my great axe again,
And just ready yourself?
beckon at them, saying, "Come to me."
Right.
Sort of.
So you're going to ready yourself.
Ready myself for attack.
Marath, it is now your turn. These creatures are about 30 feet away from the lead of the group.
I would do similar to Tovi, but move up beside him.
Yep.
And throw a javelin in the
No
process
worries.
as well.
Which one are you aiming for? The lead wolf, one of the bigger ones, or a smaller
same
one?
one that
Okay.
he went for, and for a 7, I dare say that's going to miss.
That's also a miss, yes. So not too good on the old javelin throws at this point. So is that all you're going to do, Marath?
Yeah, I'd just get into a stance ready for the
Okay, no worries.
oncoming now.
Blondie, it's your turn. You've seen the squad mates so far both miss with a javelin. The crossbow went wide. They've moved forward and got themselves into a ready stance, ready to into melee combat with these things, because you know they're charging at you.
Yeah, so Blondie, as he runs forward, mimicking what the other two are doing, but keeping, say, 10-foot distance between them, so I guess they're advancing.
Yep.
He's 1, 2, 3. He would bend down at full sprint. No hassle running, he's a great runner.
No
But he'll
worries.
bend down at full sprint, scoop up dirt and leaves in his left hand
No
while still
worries.
holding the double battle axe, and move his full movement and hold his action until one of the creatures is within range.
Moving your full movement, you would be pretty much right on top of them. They're only within about 30 feet anyway. So
Okay, so I can get
Yep.
into melee range.
So you
So I
would be more than easily with a full surge forward. You will be in melee range with the lead wolf, which is one of the larger wolves.
So as my bonus action, I can toss something
No
because
worries.
it's what he does. I'm going to toss the dirt in my hand into the wolf's eyes,
No worries.
hoping to blind it. And if they're all in a row, hopefully scatter it across their eyes.
The lead wolf is a little ahead of the others. It's almost like
Okay,
they're
so just the lead.
almost like an arrowhead formation, just about. Not quite, but so the lead wolf. So you throw the. I'll get you to roll to hit as well for this.
For the throw, yep.
Yeah. So using your dex instead of your strength
Correct, yep.
as your modifier. So d20 plus your dex.
Yeah, it ain't good. 7.
It's pretty close though. I mean, you think you've managed, you definitely hit it in the face, but doesn't seem to have slowed it down any. It's still sort of right there, ready to have a go. So that was your bonus action.
And then
Now
I
your
bring
action.
down, as I let go of the dirt, grabbing my two-handed battle axe and just drive down into its...
Okay, roll to hit with your battle axe.
And I call out, "There's weaknesses in their neck. If you chop their head off, they usually die. At least in Neverwinter they do." 15 to hit.
That hits.
All right, D12. 8
slashing
8
damage.
slashing
No,
damage.
sorry, 13 slashing damage. I forgot to add the modifier.
Two-handed, yeah. Okay, so 13. No
13
worries.
slashing damage, and that's it. That's all he can do.
Okay, so as you release the dirt, it doesn't seem to have any effect on this large wolf. It sort of shakes its head and bares its teeth at you, and you raise the axe and slash down, trying to go for that sort of decapitation shot, but it sort of turns slightly. You catch it right in the meat of the shoulder, opens up a large gaping wound though, and the large wolf doesn't really yelp. It almost grunts in pain and then just growls at you. With that, is that your turn? Varys,
that's all for me.
You are up, Dilly, on board. So Varys, you have seen this new squad mate, the stranger, surge forward at full sprint, launching his axe attack. Your squad leader and your other squad mate in a position ready to take the full brunt of this attack while you guys are standing slightly behind.
So Varys, like, I've got something for this, and he grabs out a book, and he looks at his book, and he does this in his ear, and in Sylvan he says "speak," and I'm going to try and cast "speak with animals."
Okay. What's the range on speak with animals?
That's a self spell.
Self thing, so
I
you can now talk to
yeah.
them. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No worries.
I don't know if you'll allow me to talk to them this turn or what have you, but yeah.
So that's your action?
Yes.
Do you have a bonus action that you can do?
Not anything that I would do, so I'll just do that and prepare myself to have words next turn.
No worries. So that is you preparing yourself for what possibly may come. With that, one of the smaller wolves has now made it up with the rest. Pushing it in to the side of the new recruit Blondie, who's surged forward into the fray. So it is going to make a attack at you, which will be at advantage, as it has pack tactics with his pack mates. It is an 11 to hit, which I think for you would still be a miss at that level, I believe.
Who's that at?
You, Blondie.
Oh, sorry. 11. No, I have 15 even at that
Okay.
level.
See, I knew your thing was pretty high. So
No shield though. It couldn't be any higher.
no worries. He bites out at you. You manage to turn with your class's armor on that you've been given by the Dragon Skull Militia, and it just chomps down on armor. But the pressure still hurts. You can feel the teeth even through the armor. It is a powerful creature. Dilly, it is now your turn.
Well, shit, I've just seen my teammate miss, and then one of my that was backing up do absolutely fuck all as far as I do. You're talking to himself, so...
Pretty much. Do you understand Sylvan?
No, I do
So
not.
you would not have understood anything he just said.
Nope, so Dilly is going to cast... mage armor on herself, which gives her an armor class of 13.
Nice.
And then she's going to do quickened spell, which means that as her bonus action, which will use 2 sorcery points,
Yep.
which will mean that she can now do firebolt at the one that
No worries.
the only person that hit anything at it. So that will be that'll be a 19 to hit that
That'll
one,
hit.
that first one that
The first one that was hit.
Blondie hit.
Yep. No worries. It's the dire wolf. That does hit.
Yep, and that will be 9 points of fire damage at that one.
9 points of fire damage. No worries.
And she's also going to back up her full 25 feet so she don't get bloody hit.
No worries. I just cantrip. That was, yes.
That was a cantrip, and the mage armor is first level.
Okay, so I need to make a quick roll for the mage armor. Nope, you're good. No adverse effects seem to have engaged at this point with the first level spell.
Yeah.
So that is your turn. You back up, creating more distance between you and this group of wolves. So full 25 feet. That
Yep.
the wolves seem to have all stopped at where Blondie is at this point. So that was about 30 feet. So you're now about 55, 60ish feet from. So we'll say you're at relatively long range.
Yeah.
Next up, it is one of the direwolves. The other direwolf, as you, Blondie, has stopped and attacked this one. It sort of almost halts in its tracks and turns into you. And it will also make its bite attack at you, which will be a 17 to hit.
That definitely hits now.
Question, is Blondie within 30 feet of me?
Barely.
Barely?
Like you're right on the cusp of that. So what are you wanting to do as a reaction?
Where do I have it? Protective field.
Read off what it does, and what does it cost you?
Psychic point. It costs me. When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to expend one psionic energy die. Roll the die to reduce the damage taken by the number.
So roll your die, and you'll reduce the damage that he receives on this. I'll still need a strength save from you as well.
2.
So you take 8 points of piercing damage instead of 10. And what is your strength save?
A net 1. It's 2 tonight.
You are knocked prone by this large wolf as it surges forward, lunges forward, bites down on your shoulder. The damage isn't as much as what you thought it might be. Something may have been, you're not sure why, but definitely the damage was a lot lighter than it could have been. But it forces you down onto the ground with its weight and pressure of the attack.
Good dog, good dog.
Next up is your turn, Uth, with Tolvir on board. So you're about 30 feet, so you're within your movement to reach these animals.
Up to where Blondie is and help him out.
Okay, so he's being held prone. He's not restrained, but the direwolf has bitten down on his shoulder and has forced him to the ground. So he's got one direwolf right in front of him, one standing over him to the right, almost pinning him to the ground.
I'll attack the one standing over him.
Okay, so the one that's taken damage or the new one?
The one that's, whichever one's got him pinned.
Okay, cool.
15 to hit.
It hits.
7 piercing.
So you're attacking with your rapier?
Yes.
So you surge forward, lunging with that rapier. You lunge into the creature's sort of shoulder and chest area, doing 7 points of piercing damage. Do you have a bonus action?
Negative. Oh. Yeah,
You have 2-weapon fighting, I believe.
I do, yes.
So you can use your bonus action as an offhand attack. You just do not get your modifier.
Okay. Okay, so nat 1.
That'll miss. You, with your other hand, go for a slashing sort of motion across the back of the wolf's head, but it seems to shake Blondie at this stage, and as he shakes, you just slightly go over top of one ear, maybe skimming the top of the ear. Is that your turn?
That it is now.
Now it is the other direwolf's turn. A lot of nat ones tonight. The other direwolf now looking up as the next combatant's joined, and it takes half a step back and then launches itself at you, Uth, over top of where Blondie is laying prone. So it is going to attack you. It's still within 5 feet of its companion, so it'll also be at advantage. That's a 24 to hit. 7 points of piercing damage.
7?
Yep. As it makes its attack. That is its turn. Next up is one of the smaller wolves who charges past the 2 direwolves, charging towards where Marath and Tolver are standing. Who was holding an action? Was that you, Tolver? Oh no, you were going to hold, weren't you? But you didn't in the end.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so it charges forward into Marath and Tolver. Roll a d6, see who it's going to attack. Tolver is a candidate. So it's on its own, so no advantage this time. 16 to hit.
Yep.
You'll take 5 points of piercing damage. You'll also need to make a strength check. Or a strength save, sorry.
15.
You are good. The wolf tries to knock you down as it jumps into the attack, but you manage to put your weight on your front foot and fight it. We've got an advantage for Grim. We've got an advantage for Mina in the chat as well. Next up, Tolver with Marath on board, Mr. Blondie after that.
Tolver's going to sort of sidestep the wolf.
Yep.
And then, so basically, a big smile on his face, swing his great axe down on the back.
No worries. Roll to hit.
The 22 to
That
hit.
hits.
Or 13 points of damage.
So you swinging high both hands down onto the spine of this creature?
Yeah, with that one hand mid handle, the other right from that skull at the bottom, bringing
No
it down
worries.
as hard as he can.
As the creature has made its attack at you, it takes a chunk of flesh out of your arm. You grit your teeth and you raise that axe and you come down with all your force, severing this creature in two. However, as it does so, you sever it and a spray of blood hits you in the face, even you, Marath, but the blood's not warm. And then it sort of dissipates in a bit of a mist, and you watch as this wolf, as it no longer exists, again melts away in a shimmer of sort of smoke and mist at your feet. But that is one down. Is that your turn?
I'm gonna move 10 foot towards the other ones.
Yep.
And holding my axe in front of me, sort of.
So ready yourself for the next one?
Ready for the next.
No worries. Marath, is now your turn. You've the two main direwolves, Uth and Blondie, are engaged with the other smaller wolf, is sort of flanking around one side. You're within moving distance to get to it, so you're within that range to get into melee if you wish, and you've just had an advantage also.
I would attack one of the ones that's attacking someone else.
Yep. So one of the larger direwolves.
Yeah, with a 19 to hit.
That hits.
And it takes 8 points of slashing damage.
No worries. And that was with the two double-handed scimitar.
Yep, that's the scimitar.
So you move in, raise, sort of flanking to one side, coming down with the one end of your double-handed scimitar, slashing down across the back of one of the creatures, opening a large gash across its flanks. And it turns and growls at you, sort of facing away from Blondie at this point. Is that your turn?
Yep, that is all I can do right now.
That is all you can do. Blondie, it is now your turn. The one that sort of had you pinned has released you with the secondary attack and has turned.
So I'm still prone,
You are still prone.
and it was, even though it's released me, it'd still be over me?
Kinda. It's sort of half by turn and stepping away from you, so it's side on to you.
Okay. From my lying down position, as it's turning, I look up between its back legs and I go, I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. And I kick it as hard as I can in the ball sacks.
No worries. Roll to hit. D20 plus strength.
Oh, this is good. 23.
23. Oh, wow. So it definitely hits. Roll. What's your right arm strike damage?
It's 4 damage.
4 damage. So definitely do the 4. So I will also say we're going to give it a wisdom save as well. A constitution save as well. Because why not? it's pretty good. It's pretty hard. He got a 19 on the save, so he's not really overly affected by it, but he felt it, and the moment you kick him, he yelps and he turns and just have you remained prone?
Yeah, I stayed prone. Yeah.
Steps back over 1 foot on your chest and just nose to nose and just growls. The drool from its mouth dripping onto your face. It's hot, and you can feel the heat of its breath on your face.
That's wonderful. Can't do much from here. Has it stepped back on me? It's not holding me?
It's standing on your chest. Like, not its full weight, but one front paw on your chest.
Okay, so that stops me from getting up. Alright, that is it for Blondie.
Various, is now your turn with Dilly on board.
Various looks at the one that's over Blondie. He's like, I don't think this fight is very opportune for you. I feel like maybe if you left, you'd be alright. See that human there, the blonde one? Apparently he tried to assassinate the queen of this place, and she's a dragon. You should probably, you cut your losses. I'm going to try and
roll a persuasion check.
22. Wow, a nice roll.
22, it is a nice roll. And unfortunately, even with a 22, it just does not seem to listen to you.
Yeah, yeah. I had feelings.
Yeah, after watching what happened to the one that Tolvera attacked, I would say, even though you still attempted, and well done, I'll give you DM's inspiration for that. I'd say by now, with that attempt there, Varys would kind of realize maybe these are not real animals.
Ah, damn it. And that'll be me. I can't do anything else.
Well done. Dilly.
Yeah, having seen that it just kind of went into dust, what Dilly was going to do kind of went, yep, she's just going to firebolt.
Firebolt again? No worries.
Firebolt, the one that's on Carnos at the moment, the Blondie.
It's not Carnos,
Sorry.
it's Blondie.
Blondie. Sorry.
So the direwolf that's standing over Blondie.
Yep, and that's a cantrip, and she'll miss with a 7.
That will definitely miss. Strikes the ground right next to your head, Blondie, and sprays you with dirt and grass.
And
anything else?
She will back up again, probably about another 10 feet.
No worries. So before we proceed here, Blondie, how many hit points you got left? Just out of curiosity. You can either tell me or DM, it doesn't matter.
Okay, and gilded?
Either way, doesn't really matter.
Okay, 22. It's not a major.
Yeah, it's not a major. I sort of need to know where you're at. So the direwolf that's standing on your chest, it's not his turn. The one that's standing kind of facing the others, facing Uth. So it turns as the other growls. You almost see the decision making, but it attacks Uth, so you're lucky. So Uth, you get this attack, dirty 20 to hit. As it lunges forward, it'd be 11 points of piercing damage on you, Uth. I think you're muted, Drash, can't you?
I do protective field on me.
Reaction? No worries. So roll your psionic die. How many psionic dice do you get at your level? It was like 3? Is it 1 per level?
No, I've got 4, so I've got 3 left.
Cool.
And I stepped up on the last roll. It was a D6, not a D8.
That's right. It was only 2. It's not a big drama. So D6. 5.
D6,
Nice. So you take
5.
6 points of piercing damage instead of 11, as you concentrate, willing your skin to harden with your psionic energy, reducing that damage. And that is its turn. It is now your turn, Uth, to retaliate if you wish.
With an outstretched hand, keeping an eye on the direwolf in front of me, I concentrate on Blondie and move him out from under the wolf 30 feet away.
You're going to try and move him via telekinesis. What is... Just read off that description, because I need to know how much weight, roughly, you can move.
Telekinetic movement, you can move an object or creature with your mind as an action. You target one loose object that is large or small, or one willing creature other than yourself.
Okay,
if you
so...
can see the target within
do you
30 foot of you.
Yeah, so Blondie's going to have to be willing. So do you say, as a free action, what do you say to him as you go to move him?
Blondie, let it happen.
As he reaches out a hand towards you, you hear him say, Blondie, let it happen. And you feel yourself start to move. Do you allow it to happen?
Oh, well, there's been many a night in a ladies' night, House of the Whores, that I've said, yes, let it happen, so yes.
And with that, you shot backwards on your back, sliding across the ground 30 feet. The wolf does get an attack of opportunity, however, as you leave his melee range. We'll just resolve that. Be a straight roll, no advantage. Oh no, you get advantage because of the pack tactics. Which he does so for 24 to hit.
That hits.
And he doesn't bite down, but it uses his claws as his foot was on your chest and just digs his sharpened claws into your chest, and it rakes down your chest and biting into your legs past your armor. 12 points of slashing damage. As you are shot away.
I let it happen,
feet.
but it hurt.
And that's your action, Uth.
Yep.
You've used your reaction. You have a bonus action. You can use your offhand attack on the wolf the wolf that's still in front of you if you wish. Again, you just don't get your modifier. You just don't get your modifier on the attack. On the damage, sorry.
17.
That'll hit.
And 1.
1 point of piercing damage as you lunge forward with your rapier. But it,
Thanks,
Hello,
Hero.
I'm still here.
but you managed to get him out of the way. Oh, Dr. Faye, a Faye Doctor on Alpha. So a healing pot, 2d4 plus 2, which you can use right now. Next up is the other dire wolf. Not happy that his meal has just been taken away from him, turns to you, Uth, and attacks you. An 11 to hit, which I believe misses.
Tis a miss, yes.
Next up is the smaller wolf, who's now charging round into the side and sort of skates around and charges into your flank, Marath. So it'll attack you. Straight roll with a 7, so that'll miss, so you're good. As he snaps at your feet, you sort of lift your foot out of the way and almost go to kick it, and it just misses your ankles. Polvir, you're up with Marath on board. Blondie after that.
There's still 2 direwolves?
There's still 2 direwolves up, and the smaller wolf is closer to you than the direwolves.
Sweet. Tolvir is going to flick his wings out, straight out.
Yep.
He's going to fly straight up and then come down with those great axe on top of one of the direwolves.
Nice. So I will say, I'm going to give you something here that we use in our home game at home, which our paladin who has wings uses. As you rise up and move forward and you now swoop downwards, basically we call it a swooping attack. Going to give you advantage on the attack as just the momentum and the weight of the axe as you come downwards with and you guys watch as he unfolds his red and leathery wings and just lifts himself into the air and then just swoops down onto this wolf. Make your attack with advantage, sir. Remember, right click on D&D Beyond for advantage. But 15 will definitely hit, so you're good.
For 9 points of damage.
9 points. It is not enough to take it down, but it is close. It is looking bloodied.
and he's going to land behind it.
No worries. Easily enough done. You've moved yourself far enough forward to be able to do that.
And as he ends his turn, he's going to hold his axe up in a defensive position, and he's going to spread his wings like straight out.
Okay, roll an intimidation check for me. Let's see if this wolf is. Yeah, I want to see if this wolf is going to turn on you. 19. I would say it does. With a 19, the wolf turns away from you, Uth, and turns its back on you, facing you now, Tolvier. Marath.
Tolvier will smile as he ends his turn.
No worries. Marath, as one of the smaller wolves, has moved into your flank. You've watched as Tolvier has leapt into the air, his wings outspread, dives in on this creature, and it's now turned to face him. It is your turn.
You take a attack at whichever one's closest.
No worries.
12 to hit.
That'll hit.
9 points of damage.
And how exactly are you attacking with your two-handed scimitar here?
If it's facing away from me, I would have gone up its ass and cut it straight down the middle.
It was kind of facing you because it just had tried to attack you, so it was face on.
What? Into the face and then straight down the middle.
Okay, so yeah, you thrust forward with all of your strength, thrusting. I mean, this double-handed scimitar you've had made specially for you, it weighs more than the average scimitar. The blade is that much thicker. It's not a flimsy, thin blade, which most scimitars can be. It's thick, it's heavy, and you jam it right into the face of the wolf, and you just push it forward, and then you push it down and then back up as you move through, splitting it in two. Spray of blood once again. Entrails fall out either side onto the ground as it then dissipates in a wisp of foggy smoke, just like the previous one did. But that one is also now dead. And as that, I believe, is your entirely your turn. You still got movement if you wish to move into combat range with these other two.
I'd move back to be in like a defensive position to stop them from getting towards the ranged.
Okay, no worries.
People, and that's it.
So you move yourself into a defensive position between you, the wolves, Dilly, and Various. No worries. Blondie, it's now your turn. You're still prone, but you're scooted 30 feet away.
How many wolves are left?
There is the two dire wolves. They're the only two that are left.
And the closest one to me is 30 feet, right?
Pretty much now. You're at max range. You can take your half movement to get up.
Yeah.
So you'd have to dash to get there.
Gonna do that. I'm gonna get up, then I'm gonna dash at him, and then I'm going to action surge.
Nice.
And make a strike. Is this the same one that's been attacking me the whole time, or is that one dead?
No, that one's still up.
So I want to hit that same one.
No worries. It has turned away from you now, so it's got its back to you. So you have advantage because you are flanking with Tolvier.
Nice. In that case, I will attack with advantage. Swinging down. Now, I would also like to, assuming this hits, 16 plus 5, so 21 hits.
Definitely hits.
And I would also like to use one of my points and hopefully knock it prone. I don't know if that's a thing for wolves, but I'm going to, because I'm sort of, as I'm swinging low under the hips, trying to take all four legs out with this double-bladed axe. So the damage is...
Thank you, mods.
The damage is
Chuck a ban
16
as well.
It needs to make a strength save.
So what were you doing? Sorry, I was preoccupied by something in chat. What were you doing? Sorry, you...
So I've hit it, so I'm going to use a superiority die to try and knock it prone by cutting all its legs off. So it needs to make a strength save. Well, if I don't cut them off, hopefully it falls over.
16 on the stave.
Okay, it makes the save. But it takes 16 plus... just 16 slashing damage.
16 slashing damage. It is looking bloody. I'd say you would have severed one of its hind legs, and almost severed the other. So it is not knocked prone. It's still up, but it's not looking good.
And I call back to the other attackers. This one's nearly down. Put it out of its misery.
And that's it for
That's it.
Blondie.
Blondie is done. Various, it is your turn with Dilly on board. You've seen that your attempt to negotiate has failed. You see that the last two of these large animals are still standing but are not looking healthy at all.
So Varius puts his book away and he grabs out the bow and he does that thing that people do, they like lick their finger to see the wind. And he sort of like shuffles his movement, like using what movement he has to sort of like get the perfect spot to try and
So get
hit
line of
the
sight.
wolf between
No worries.
Tolvia and Blondie.
Not a problem.
And I'm going to he grabs the arrow out and it sort of glows with a bit of green energy. I'm going to use Dreadful Strikes, assuming it hits, which is a special thing.
Yep, so roll to hit.
It's... Which is not going to hit because it's a 9.
No, that does not hit. Slightly wide. You get yourself, maybe you misjudged the wind, maybe you held your finger the wrong way, but it just goes wide. Doesn't hit anyone else, luckily, but it does go wide. Bonus action?
Nothing I can use.
Nope. No worries. So Dilly, you're up. You've watched as finally Varius has pulled a weapon out and attempted to shoot, but misses, goes wide.
So are they both looking bad?
They're both looking pretty bad, yeah.
Okay, Dilly's gonna go fuck this shit. She's going to cast Magic Missile at 2nd level, so they're an automatic hit.
Yep.
First one, and she's gonna see if she can hit both of them if she can. So first one, the one that Blondie hit.
Yep.
That's 4 for the first hit.
Well, there's no hit. It's an automatic hit, so 4 for the first damage.
Oh, so yeah, that's what I mean. As in 4 damage that does.
4
Because I've got
damage,
to roll the.
And your
The
second?
second dart does 3 damage.
So your first dart would kill the first one.
Okay,
So as
3
it
on the
strikes it,
second
it
one.
just barrel rolls it, and it slowly dissipates in a wisp of smoke. The second one is 3 damage plus.
Yep. Well, that's 3 damage.
Yep.
Now I've got another dart. That's 4 damage. And my last dart is 5 damage.
So what color are Dilly's missiles?
So as she's doing that, her bonus action will actually she'll rise up on her little cloud about 10 foot.
Yep.
And as that's happening, the darts will be a greenish, bluish, purplish, like a lightning bolt, as if they're zigzagging lightning bolts.
Yep.
And they're going to seem as if they're coming from the whirlwind from her focus in her earring. And yeah, it's going to seem like the skull, as it whirls around, it's going to seem like the skull is actually spitting them out.
Awesome.
Towards it.
So Varus is probably the only one that can see this at this point, because he's back there with you. No one else will really see it, not close enough. But these small lightning bolts of energy, and the colours it described, just snake forward in and around, like they're being controlled with Dilly's mind almost. Around Varius, they snake around you, then underneath Mara's legs, up over Uth's shoulders, and slam into the first one, knocking it, barrel rolling it away. It dissipates in that wispy smoke. The next 3 come in either side, snaking around everybody, just switching around, making almost a slight humming sound as they passed. And one hits the wolf square in the face, the other 2 in its side, all simultaneously, and almost like it explodes in a puff of magic, and it dissipates and is gone. As both direwolves are now gone, and our combat has ended.
And meanwhile, you'll see Dilly 10 foot above everyone going, on a cloud going, hi!
How long does that last?
Probably only a moment or 2.
Yeah,
it just means that I don't get a action. We'll have to look at it properly, but yeah.
We'll have to
That should be...
send me the details on it and we'll just make sure. But I'd say it's only, I'd say we can probably say it's like a minute or something.
Yeah, so she'll be going, hi. She'll be taller than Morath.
For a moment. So with that, yes, the combat comes to an end, and you hear the sergeant just clapping from behind you guys, seemingly relatively impressed with the relative skills. As one of the casters walks forward, hooded female, she pulls the hood down. You see that she's elven in nature. Long blonde hair tied back in braids into a single braid at the back, and she walks over to you, clasping her hands. Marath, if he's there, he would recognize the symbol that's hanging from her neck. She wears the symbol of the Steel Lady, which is one of the more prominent deities in Paradigm over the last several decades. And she walks over to Uth and places her hand on your shoulder, and you are restored back to full health. As she walks around, Tolvir, Marath, anyone that's taken damage, she heals you back to your full health. She goes to walk up to Mr. Blondie, and as she reaches out her hand to place it on the shoulder, all of you hear this amazing sound come from behind him. You're not sure what it is, and then you see it. The purple and blue arcane swirl just opens up behind him. Dilly, you've seen this before. You know exactly what it is. Blondie, as you hear it, you start to turn, and then all of a sudden you are yanked backwards with such a force that the weapon is ripped from your hand and drops to the ground.
I yell out as I'm getting pulled through. Yes, finally, back to Waterdeep for my main quest. Up yours, strange hammer.
What?
What the fuck? Oh Christ.
Fuck.
And what does Dilly do at this point? Because at the moment it's still open. You're probably 60 feet from it.
Dilly is still up on her cloud. She's
Yep.
gonna try and get the cloud to go down. She's actually going to try and get there. She's only got 25 feet of movement.
Okay.
She wants to find out.
As you do so, you surge forward. You get about halfway there and your cloud dissipates, dropping you to the ground, and you just start running. And you hear Stormhammer from it. Dilly, stay away from it! You don't know what it is! And with that, it then suddenly vanishes, closes, right as you get a hand, maybe 3 feet from it. And it just and closes and disappears.
Dilly's going to drop to the ground. She's going to bang her fists on the ground. And she's just going to sit there.
Fuck me.
Fuck!
That seemed really unfortunate for that man. He seemed okay-ish.
He'll be fine.
I tell you what, it doesn't appear to be an arcane user in the paradigm of late. You're right, Dilly. Why are you running towards it for? That's fucking dangerous.
It's, he came from somewhere that I wanted to be. Never mind. Let's get... So did we do good?
You did alright. I mean, good is a relative term. I mean, no one died, so at least that's something. I mean, not that you really could die. I wouldn't do that to you, not yet. Later, maybe.
Dilly's gonna stand up. She's gonna dust herself up. Waiting for orders, Sergeant.
Right. I tell you what. He turns his back on you for a moment and says something to the priest that had just healed you guys. So Marath, anyone that, if you'd taken damage, you're back at full health, you would have been healed. You would have recognized the holy symbol around the priestess's neck. It was the same deity as your own, the Steel Lady. And the priest then turns and heads over to the other casters, and they head off back into the forest, back towards the keep. So I tell you what, since you've done relatively well, and I've been a bit of a hard ass the last 2 or 3 days, I'm going to give you a night off. we're going to spend the night out here, away from the keep. We're going to hunt some food. We're going to camp. Tonight, we're not soldiers, right? My rank means nothing. I'm just another adventurer, so to speak, out here in the woods. That's after we make camp, mind you. Before that, you still do as you're fucking told. Alright, let's find a place to camp.
Sergeant, do you think that's wise? You don't think that he's gone through that spirally thing to take another shot at the Queen, do you?
I doubt that.
I don't think he's after the Queen, Tovier.
Shouldn't we warn them, just in case he's going back?
I have
Corporal.
sent a message with the priest to ensure that they're forewarned that he has disappeared. It's about all we can do for now.
Corporal,
Understood.
I think the Queen is safe in this occasion.
Oh, the Queen is quite safe. She's got some of the best bodyguards in the realm. They've been personally trained by... I don't know, do you guys know much about the Lands of Elond, by any chance? Have you heard the stories? You know who they are?
I've heard stories.
Do you remember the Nemaris the Bloody, she used to be called? Former champion of the arena, as it so happens, Marath. In fact, she reigned for many, many years before her death. Not in the arena, she died of natural causes, I believe. Much to her disgust, mind you. She would have preferred to go in battle, as most good warriors do. But the training regiment that the personal guard of the Queen undertake is by her design. So she's quite safe. There's been many attempts over the years, and none has succeeded yet. If you're lucky, you may make it onto that detail if you prove yourselves worthy. Never know. I find it highly doubtful, but you never know. So, let's find a suitable campground. I mean, this place is alright, but we've got a river about 30 minutes north, which I think we could find a nice spot. So let's go. And he marches you, just to be the prick that he is, he does march you at double time, 30 minutes north. And eventually you do come to a clearing, which you get the impression he knows well. He led you right to it. And it is a very nice campground. There's a river nearby. And you set up camp tents, get a campfire going. Funnily enough, the sergeant actually pitches in, helps with the wood. He sits down at the campfire just as the sun starts to set, takes off his pauldrons, takes off his cloak, leaves the bulk of his armor off, but takes off anything that has him recognized as a rank other than just a regular soldier. And he says, "Come, sit. Let's have drinks and something to eat." And he, from his pack, pulls out 2 or 3 bottles of wine, a bottle of ale, quite a large bottle of ale, almost like one of those clay jugs of ale. So it probably holds 3 or 4 liters. It's quite large. You've all got your own tin cups and stuff in your own packs from your supplies from being soldiers. So you have your own cups and things like that. But he pours you all a drink of choice, asks you what you would like. He pours himself an ale. Marath, what you drinking, son? Ale or wine?
I've always been more partial to the ale than wine.
Ale it is, and he pours you an ale. And same question everyone. So Tolvier, what is your drink of choice?
Tolvier will just take whatever's coming.
He'll give you an ale. He looks at you as a bit of an ale drinker. Dilly, ale or wine?
Dilly would prefer an ale.
Ale for Miss Dilly. Vegetor, sorry, Varius. I should call you by your real names out here, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Ale. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Usma, I bet you're a wine drinker.
Ale, thanks, Sergeant.
I must say that's surprising. You strike me as a bit of a pansy. I mean, a wine drinker. And he pours you an ale, puts the wine back in his pack. Once the ale runs out, you know you're going to be drinking this shite anyway, so we'll keep it there for later.
I'm small enough, I'll probably get drunk off of this.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's pretty good stuff. One of the finest ales you'll find here in Volant. So, I suppose I should tell you a little bit about myself, since we're possibly going to be in the getting to know you shite mode. I mean, obviously I'm a dwarf. Taller than the average dwarf, but a dwarf nonetheless. I hail from the northern parts of Paradigm, from the mountain clans, the Stormhammers. Weapon of choice, Warhammer, of course. And he sort of pats his Warhammer, which is lying next to him. And you can see it's a dwarven design. It's very... it looks like it would be too heavy for him, just looking at it, but he carries it and wields it like it weighs virtually nothing. But very well made. In bronze and steel, dwarven runes across the head of the hammer. Does anyone speak or read Dwarvish by any chance?
Yep.
Various. You speak Dwarvish. So you would probably not catch all of the runes, but the ones that you can see from where you are flickering in the firelight. One set of runes there you know stands for his family name, Stormhammer. You can see that quite clearly. It looks like the others that are slightly smaller might be some kind of family motto, maybe. You can't quite tell from where you are at this point. But it's done in that same sort of fashion, almost like a coat of arms would be. So you get the impression that it's some type of motto. And it says, I've been part of Her Majesty's militia for a number of years. 40 or 50 to be exact. Not to be exact, to be roundabout. I have personally thwarted at least one assassination attempt on Her Majesty's life in my time of service. And for the last 25 years I've been training individuals such as yourself, making sure that you're worthy to wear the cloak of the militia. So technically you're not even real soldiers yet. You're still just the recruits, even though you hold an unofficial title of Corporal Tovir. It's unofficial. Until you actually get your cloak, you're not officially soldiers in this here army. Not until we deem you worthy, of course. So, Marath, former champion of the arena, from what I understand of your billing, former slave. Why'd you join? What makes you think that you've got what it takes to be part of this outfit?
Well, I won my freedom and didn't know what to do with it. And someone suggested I go join the army. So I did.
But you also have taken vows of Paladin, I believe. You've been training at the Temple of the Steel Lady.
Yes. Yes, I met, our Sergeant of Arms in the arena was a former Paladin. Dirty old lech, but apparently that's just how they are.
Indeed. So, do you intend to follow that path and spend some time at the temple? Because I think you've already been told under your contract that you're allowed to abscond, if they say, to train more thoroughly. We do need more paladins in the militia, of course.
I will be when the time suits. It's not really up to me, it's more up to the lady.
Indeed, indeed. I also follow the Steel Lady. I found her many years ago, which is what led me to this army, in fact. Her teachings and her beliefs hold true, which is why we uphold the laws of these realm and this land, making sure that none of the dirty necromancers that are out there actually gain any power in the land like they once did. Right, so 12 year. You've obviously had some military training before. That much is evident.
Long time ago. Many centuries ago.
It's a long time. Your particular race is new, relatively new here in Paradigm. I mean, we do have Dragonborn, but you're not Dragonborn, are you? Just something else. Lived for a long time, I take it.
Yes, very long time.
I know how that feels. Us dwarves live a long time also. It can be hard. Making friends that do not live as long. Which is why I joined the army as well. It's less hard if they die in battle. So, what made you want to redo it? Do it all over again? Rejoin?
Well, I spent a long time doing escort type stuff, like escorting people, not being.
I was going to say, were you a prostitute or something? I mean, we have heard of the male prostitute, but not often. I thought it'd best to clear that up.
Escorting travellers who have issues with wolves and such.
So you're a bleed for hire.
Indeed. I mean, to a degree, it's not accepted anymore, but people still need to be.
It's not illegal, but we have such a great force now that that kind of work is not entirely necessary. But people still do it.
Yeah, I've been all over the north and down to the south from time to time, but just someone suggested that you guys were hiring, so I thought, well, I'll throw my head back in there and see if I'm still up to spec.
You don't seem to be doing too bad. Impressive today with the axe and the wings thing. That was something we don't see very often. I think you'll definitely earn the rank of corporal. Excuse me. It was a good ale.
Indeed.
And Miss Dilly, are you alright? You still seem off.
Disappointed.
You're not from around here, are you?
Sadly, no.
So that blonde fella, he said when he was captured, he said he was working for some wizard, and he kept mentioning a place called the Sword Coast, Fandolin, I believe it was. Reckoned he was from this fantastical land. So you're telling me that is the truth?
It is.
So you're from this land, this Sword Coast.
Well, not specifically from there, but yeah, Sword Coast area.
And how
Not
is it?
Vandalin, but
How is it you found yourself here in Paradigm?
an idiot drunk.
Magic. I've never really liked it. I mean, so unpredictable, especially now. I mean, you were lucky today, I believe. But you may not be lucky in the future.
It's knowing more than, let's just say,
Let's leave it for another time. It seems a little raw. Maybe get your head around it a little bit. Let's just, if you're not comfortable, we don't want to press her.
he was the first person I've seen from where I am in like over a year, so that's a little bit confronting.
Hey, if you need to talk, don't come and see me. Go see the apothecary when you get back. We'll talk to your friends. I mean, I'm not mean to be mean or anything, but I'm not a greatest listener. I'm not a good listener. I mean, I really not.
At that, Dilly will actually start laughing.
Apparently, I got a good sense of humour, though. Just so you know.
Let me show you something, Sergeant. And she'll use minor illusion, and they'll be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But there'll be 2'5" gnomes, 2 little male gnomes. These are my brothers, my younger brothers.
All right.
They're interesting characters. One's barking, and he's barking mad. And she'll point to the one that looks slightly a little bit off. And this one's Chippledock. And she'll point to the other one. I used to run after them a lot until I decided to find something outside of this. Do you know how mad gnomes are?
I've met a few.
Do you know how mad rock gnomes are?
I've met a few.
Try having a mother that is a rock gnome.
Try having a cook that's a fucking gnome. You'll meet
She
her
a rock
eventually. I don't know if she's a rock gnome. But she's fucking crazy, I tell you.
Probably like her.
Mad as a hat. Don't, if you, I'll tell you guys now, I mean, this is the only piece of advice I'm ever going to give you for free, so listen up. If you get offered a job in the kitchen, say no. Don't fucking do it. I swear to the steel lady, do not fucking do it. She will cut your fingers off. She will fucking stab you. She is a fucking nutter, okay? Absolutely
She's a rock
nutty.
gnome. She's a rock gnome. She's got to be a rock gnome.
I'm not, I mean, you might, I mean, I don't know if you'd want to ask her that. She's fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts.
And Dilly will finish the rest of her drink and say, I have actually been offered a job in the kitchen.
Don't do it. I swear, do not do it. You will lose your hand or your eye. I mean, she's not even that good to cook. Just don't tell her I said that, for God's sake.
Food's not that bad.
It's not great either. Right. Oh, Varios. How did we talk to you? You're not going to ask me any stupid questions, are you?
Well, I was beginning to think that maybe they'd killed that blonde human, and that perhaps this realm doesn't like humans very much. I mean, Mr. Oof certainly doesn't seem well loved.
Humans have a bad habit of running their mouths.
Well, I thought maybe it was because Oof's a fuckhead, and then that maybe Blondie was a fuckhead too.
He kind of was, a little bit. Maybe not quite as bad as Uth over there, but definitely a fuckhead.
I mean, I'm sort of glad he's not dead. I think.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen one of those before, and I'm pretty sure it was just a portal, a teleportation circle of some description. It's been happening a lot. Again, you guys that have the arcane ability, over the last 5 or so decades, magic has taken a turn for the worst, depending on location, from what we've been told, and things that happen just out of the blue. A random arcane event accompanies a magic spell. Seems that the higher the spell, the more likely the event. So just bear that in mind when you're out and about. I mean, you as the arcane users, you might be sensitive to its location. You might be able to concentrate. You might be able to feel how close or how far. Dilly and Various, either you are proficient in arcane?
Nope.
No,
You're
but
not.
it was something I was going to look at trying to do.
It will take you time to, if you wanted to gain a proficiency in something, you have to learn it, and it does take in-game time, and there is a gold cost normally, which will be reduced if you do it through the military, but the time will still be the same. So if you want to look into that at some stage, we can definitely look into that. But for the time being, I'll get you both to make an Arcana roll, just a straight roll. If you were proficient, I'd give you advantage, but. Natural 1 from Various.
That would be a 4, good sir.
So both low rolls. So you concentrate and try and see if you can sense any kind of magic senses, and neither one of you get any sense at all. Various, all you hear is the fire, the downing of drinks. You also hear the sergeant burp loudly once again.
Varios concentrates really hard, and you hear a brrr. He's like, oh.
As a slight leak has arrived. Them beans are good, eh? Good for you too. Keep you warm at night. And you're from the Fae. Why on earth did you come here? Of all places. Of all the realms you could have gone, why Paradigm?
Someone made me an offer. I needed to get out. Nothing means anything in the Feywild. I needed something that meant something. I needed adventure and risk and...
You know, I know some people that have been to the Fae. I've never been myself. But then again, I could have been and just don't remember it, because apparently that happens when you go there, if you're not from there. Which is kind of strange. So it's impossible. I kind of may have been there, but I don't know. But those that have been there and come back say it's quite pretty. Lots of music, and where they went, there was lots of music and dancing and drinking. I mean, I like drinking.
I know,
like drinking.
terrible. Just
terrible.
I mean,
how's that terrible? Drinking's fun. My God, we have to teach you how to drink, boy.
It's beautiful, but as someone said to me, it's full of hippy dippy bullshit, and I just
That's one way to describe it.
Music every day, and it just drove me mad. Can still hear it now. Oh my God.
Can you sing when you play music? It's a bit quiet.
Not.
It's a bit quiet. Come on. Give us a song. A song from the Fae.
And he sort of just sighs really loudly. And he grabs out, he does have a pan flute, and he sort of grabs it out reluctantly. Really?
Go on. Let's give it a go.
Alright, and he'll start to play something he's heard a million times before.
Roll a performance check. If it's a song from his family or his home, do it at advantage.
I have proficiency in performance.
Well, yeah, we'll roll it at advantage.
Let's see. 20, not natural, just...
That's pretty good. Cut it out, Yanti. It's a pretty good. It's one of those tunes that because of where you are, the river, it gives off a nice sort of reverb to it as well. So it kind of echoes through the trees. Is it a lively number or a more sort of dulcet, sort of more sadden type tune?
They'd probably be pretty lively. His family's sort of
Okay.
a lively bunch.
So it sort of rings through the trees, and everyone's sort of sitting there nodding their head to it. It's a pretty impressive wee song. He then sort of just gives you a nod and then turns his attention to Uth and says, "You, what's your fucking story?"
What do you mean?
By this time he's a couple of ales in, so he's a little bit more loose than before.
What do you mean? Join me because I thought this may have been fun. Boy, was I wrong about
Why
that.
the fuck
Anyway.
would you think that joining the militia would be fun? In what world is joining the army fun? I mean, I think it's fun, but I'm a lifer. You're
Agreed.
certainly not a lifer. You're an opportunist. I can see that.
I thought join the mission, whatever it's called, and see the world. I take it that's not it.
Oh, you get to see the world, but the way you are at the moment, you're not going to see much of it before you catch an arrow in the back, a warhammer on your head, a knife in your gullet, something.
What do you mean? These guys are liking me, aren't you guys? Really? Yeah? No?
Really?
All right.
You've gotten them in. You've gotten them into trouble already. I don't think they like you too much, but we'll see. We'll see how you go.
I'll grow on them, maybe.
You're like a fungus, yeah.
You never know, he may shock us.
Eh, I've seen his type before. They
I
generally don't
like you,
last
Mr.
long.
Uth, if it's okay to say. You seem okay to me.
What a fuckhead, yes.
I've seen worse fighters.
We'll
Because
shape
now
you.
it's
We'll
weird.
shape. We'll shape him yet. I mean, he's technically your problem, Tolver. He's your squad mate, not mine. So it's up to you guys to sort him out. So, Mr. Uth Smartridge. Fancy name. Family name is it?
From what I can remember, yeah.
So what is... I saw your particular skill today. You're one of them fucking psychos, ain't you? I mean psychics. One of those fellas that can move shit with your mind. Yeah, I think psycho kind of fits, really.
That's nothing.
Nothing, did you? I dare say you saved poor Mr. Blondie a throat ripping from the dire wolf. If you hadn't have moved him,
May have, don't know, maybe.
We'll see if you can refine that particular skill in the future. All right. Well, I suppose it's starting to get late. We should probably turn in. Got a long march back to the keep tomorrow.
Great, more marching.
Well, there'll be a lot more marching, Sonny Jim. I'll make a soldier out of you yet. But you keep it up, you're on the right track, all of you. I'm not one for mushy sentiment, but I've had worse. I've seen worse. I've had the recruits die in the first week, so you're on track to do better than that so far.
Just a question, Sergeant.
Aye.
Any chance of being, like, let out on a night, maybe?
What do you think this is?
Oh, okay. I was more something in town.
You've got to earn that one, boyo. And you ain't even close to that yet.
I just thought I'd ask.
I feel like even then I'd want to have you on a leash. Maybe a dog collar, a few chain links, a nice little lightning bolt attached to the end just in case you need to be kept in line.
Put it this way, the only way you get leave to go into the city and blow off some steam is once you've earned your cloak and become a member of the militia. Which brings another set of rules along with it, of course. Even though you're not in uniform, you're still representatives of her militia's, Her Majesty's militia. So you have to conduct yourself accordingly. You are still there to uphold the laws of this realm, uniform or not.
So no gambling then?
Well, you can gamble. There's no law against gambling in the realm. No one said anything about that. But just remember, there are laws out there, and you will learn them, and you will uphold them. Alright, that's me. I'm going to hit the sack. Not too late, you lot. We'll be up at first light. And he picks himself up, stretches. You hear his bones and back crack as he stretches out, picks up his warhammer and his armor, and strolls into a nearby tent and lays himself down. Before we finish out tonight's session, is there anything you guys wish to discuss before you guys turn in?
So, music and dancing and joy and merriment. You don't like that shit?
It was constant and never ending, and I just couldn't stand it anymore.
They didn't do anything like maybe a few... I don't know. Yeah, you're right. No. Crazy gets old after a while too. I can kind of understand that. Yeah. And she's going to actually look at Mora's symbol of the Steel Lady and actually ask a question of, so who is the Steel Lady?
Don't know exactly. Kind of only new to this thing. But she's interesting.
Okay. Because I've heard the name a little bit in taverns, less bit Steel Lady and, things like that, but nothing. Yeah. Is she a god?
I guess you could call her a deity.
Okay, that makes more sense now. Right, I was wondering what this... Okay.
Is she made out of steel?
No. She was kind of what I've been able to put together. Originally, she was a cleric, war type cleric, who basically did a shitload of cool stuff and became a deity. I don't know too well. That part's later on. Everyone has their own story of what the Steel Lady really was. Some of them say she was an absolute whore, but that one I don't quite understand how that's possible.
Oh,
that
no.
would explain why she got Lady of the Thatch. I don't know.
Well, you gotta think about it. A lot of the gods that I know of weren't exactly, promiscuous. Some kind of slept with everyone. Very interesting. Makes more sense now why they say blessed be the still lady. Lady of the Thatch. Wonder if she shaved it. Wonder if she shaped it.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Various is just writing it all down.
Well, that's it for me, guys. I'm off to bed.
And thank you for answering my question, and sorry for intruding on yours. But I will turn in too. It's been a very strange day for me.
Tilly, just one
Has
question
it
for you.
really?
Tilly, quick question for you. You know when they said raise your right hand to make the oath, is that some sort of magic thing? Like, when we took the vow and they said raise your right hand, is that some sort of magical thing to bind you into doing this, or?
Not as far as I know. This is my first, I think it's a marriage, isn't it? You've committed yourself to the whole, you pretty much married yourself to be the whole military kind of thing. The only way you can get out is through death or divorce, and divorce usually means death.
Roll an Arcana check,
that kind of
Billy.
thing.
Roll another Arcana check for me.
I don't know.
Natural 1, by any chance?
No, it's a 4 again.
No, 4 again, no. Yeah, you sort of think back and you think, well, maybe it could have been. You're trying to remember, but no, you're not sure.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that means we're magically bound to the thing, like if we sort of screw up and bugger off, and then
Yeah, they probably hunt us down and kill us.
back or something.
Yeah, you'd be marked as AWOL and they would come after you. But I don't think it's magically, as they said, this whole thing about magic is all clustered at the present second.
I don't know. I'd never been told to hold up my hand before when I've been saying I'll do something. I just say
We get told to do it all the time.
Well, where I come
Not
from,
even.
you held up your hand if you were in a court when you were giving evidence. So I'm guessing it might be something along those lines to say, yes, I'm definitely telling the truth, or something along those lines. It's a way to symbolize something.
What's a court?
That place that, when you do something wrong and you get dragged in front of the Queen and she decides whether or not you get to live anymore. That's a court.
Oh, that's how it works here?
It's pretty much exactly how it works here.
Is it because you've been caught?
Well, yeah, you're not going to get dragged in front of the Queen if you haven't been caught.
So you're in the court because, right?
Yeah. So the idea is, if you are breaking the law, you don't want to be caught. So you're being a good criminal.
You can also go to court, by the way, Various, because you want information, I'm guessing, if you are a witness to a crime. And that's also why you can go to court. In, the whole, where I came from, it was usually the mayor or the town person that actually did the judgment, just where I'm saying.
So, if I wanted to say, I don't know, meet a dragon to make my wife, then does that mean that I'd have to be a criminal to go and meet the... Is that the only way that I get dragged before the Queen?
You'd caught her.
That's a different type of court.
Common is very confusing.
So, and Dilly will get out her dragon chest set that for some reason she actually has with her because she likes to have things. She's going to plop it out. She's going, right. So this, and she's pulling up. This is the queen, right? And this is the king. Now, if you want to do, you have a conversation and you meet and you talk. That's called courting when you meet and have a conversation, and sometimes they call it a date. Why the fuck am I doing this again? Anyway.
So technically, we're having a date right now?
But I thought we were married.
No.
Dilly is going to do minor illusion and then jump herself because it will be short enough, and she's going to throw herself into the lake for about 5 minutes so she can just avoid this conversation.
It's a small river, but yeah, close enough.
No, I don't want to date people. I want to date a dragon. Well, where'd Dilly go?
Why do you want to date a dragon? Was one of your parents a dragon? Is that how that works? Like a person and a dragon, and they make...
Well, from what I understand, both of them might have been, but then I might have been, but I don't know. I can't remember. That was fucking years ago.
And I think that's probably a good place where we will call our tonight's session, and we'll pick up there next week. Well, we'll pick up at the next morning next week. I think that conversation was going downhill pretty quick.
How the hell do I always get into these conversations? No matter what bloody campaign I'm in.
Awesome. I love it. So with that, we're going to bring a Baz back. And, thank you everybody for joining us this evening for another session of Paradigm 2 Shadows Embrace. Players, well done. Another great night of RP and stuff. Well done on your first combat. Even though it was technically an illusionary combat, it's still the first combat. You did well. So we'll go around our crew here and get some moments. We're going to start with Blondie down in the corner there. And yes, I mean, for those that picked up on it, 100%, we all know who it was. A much younger version of Karnos, but it was definitely Karnos.
He would have just introduced himself as Khan if ever asked. Yeah, just a couple. Right at the beginning, Uth says, "Permission to speak, Sergeant," and Sergeant says, "Shut your face." Right off the bat, no. And the magic missile from Dilly to the two wolves, that was pretty cool. The explanation of that was pretty cool, actually. I enjoyed that. Just knowing that magic missile is not super powerful, but it was obviously enough to take out those last wolves. And that final conversation, court, my God.
Yes, that was going all over the place. Marath.
Yeah, I think the whole conversation with the court thing was probably my favorite part of the night because of the, you know, everyone's got their own definition of court and they what?
I think well done for Mr. Stibb for getting the way that the law works in Paradigm. I think I did mention it at one point. In other conversations.
What else is the Queen going to do? She's pretty bored otherwise.
It's exactly how the criminal justice system works, and the thing that the criminals are taken before the Queen, evidence is presented, and the Queen makes the decision on what happens. So she is judge, jury, and executioner, basically. Well, sometimes she's the executioner. She likes to eat people still, so.
Yeah, you know, you've got to look after the figure somehow.
Exactly. Tolver.
Okay, so the whole thing with the court thing is Tolby is not a lawbreaker and he didn't have that where he grew up. So that's the whole reason for that. Along with the holding your hand up for the oath. He didn't have a clue what that was about. The various trying to convince the wolves not to attack.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
That was pretty cool. Blondie saying let it happen to Doof. Doof saying let it happen to.
Yeah, let it happen.
Yeah, jeez, just let it happen.
Yeah.
Happy dippy bullshit. The kitchen gnome, and I also had Dilly's description of magic missiles.
Yeah.
I like that.
Awesome. And good transition over to Dilly.
So yeah, the hippy dippy bullshit was probably I really enjoyed that kind of thing. I liked Oos psychically pulling Blondie out from underneath the wolf. I liked how that happened, and I liked how Blondie came in and all of a sudden it's like I'm trying to stay in Dilly's mindset, and all of a sudden realms was mentioned, and it's kind of like this Dilly's kind of light bulbs come on and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, damn it. So when that kind of came in, her light went off, and then all of a sudden he left again. And I knew it was going to happen. As me, I knew it was going to happen, but it's like
Kind of
that
had
whole
to happen.
yeah. Like I knew he was going to leave that episode, but you're like, yeah.
I wasn't about to give Dilly a chance to have a conversation with him. Fuck that. I got to screw with you somehow.
Didn't give you much, did I?
Various.
That conversation at the end was golden, but I did like how Blondie racked that wolf in the balls and then Uth dragged him away. And I liked the fact, and me as a player, I realized that they weren't real wolves, but I did like that sort of, like the holodeck from Star Trek, except the casters are there, like making these wolves. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, well, like Sgt Stormhammer said, he doesn't want to kill you guys in the first week. Save that for the second week. Anything else?
No,
nope.
That's
Mr. Uth Smartridge.
Yeah, I enjoyed it all, especially the campfire sit around. That was fun. The courting, all that, loved it.
Anything else in particular?
No, just in general. Chat was out there as well.
Righty, so we got from Chatty, we got from Yanti, the introduction of Blondie coming in. We've also got Varys's notes must be getting interesting. I'm assuming they would be getting very interesting indeed. Drax, like being able to attack with my wings, flying attack. Been planning approaches, yeah. Well, I'd sort of been thinking about it because we, in Baz's our home game, one of our players is a paladin, but he's an asthma paladin, so he has the wings, and he has this, which has been dubbed the swoop attack, which he uses on a limited basis. I thought, well, it kind of fits for this particular situation as well. So we'll probably use that on occasion. It'll be something that you'd be able to use, but not all the time. That'll be a limited thing, but we'll probably talk about that at some point. But yeah, so for me, a couple of things tonight. Obviously, thanks to Baz for coming in, reprising his role as Karnos, who's been in almost has been in every campaign that we've done in this community for forever, and just keeps showing up. But again, just even though he wasn't there in heavy RP moments, it was still kind of cool to see him there. As far as the RP goes tonight, yeah, just all you guys really. The whole last conversation, the conversation with the sergeant, him asking you the questions, the answers you guys gave, it all ties in very, very well to the story, and is working pretty much roughly how I hoped it would. So, and as long as you guys are all enjoying yourselves, that's the main thing. And hopefully over the next 2 or 3 sessions, we can see you guys branching out more from the keep and getting away from that sort of mundane everyday training kind of thing. I've got a couple other things planned in the future, which will eventually add another person to the squad. permanently, which will be Baz. His character will be coming up in the next probably 3 or 4 episodes, I'd imagine. So we will see that character turn up at some point. But that's pretty much it from us, guys. Make sure you come back tomorrow for Map Making Monday. I'm going to obviously get hold of my ISP tomorrow and find out what the hell's going on with my bloody ports and stuff, and find out what's happened there before Wednesday. Otherwise, we're going to have no Foundry for Wednesday, which will suck because you guys actually use the battle maps. Although you're at a point where it may not matter too much. We'll be back obviously Tuesday for some gaming, Wednesday for the Curse of Strahd, Thursday for some more gaming, and then Friday, go check out Yanni's channel. More D&D over there on Friday, and then back here Sunday for some more D&D here. But glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks, chat, for hanging out with us once again. I'm going to do the thing and the thing with the rage stuff. Turn that off. Let's see who is online. No one from our community is online. We've got Aussie Devfro. We'll go over and do Aussie Devfro. He's doing some D&D tonight. We're going to raid Aussie Devfro, guys. Make sure you say good day. Hit him up with a follow if you haven't followed them already. A whole bunch of people over there doing some more D&D stuff. So we will definitely see you guys tomorrow. Oh my god, I hit the wrong button. Raid. There we go. Raid is up. We will see you guys tomorrow for some map making.